Teamsters and Unite here in the house. And Food Empowerment Project in the house. Okay, thank you everybody for coming here this morning. My name is Tony Delorio, Principal Officer of Teamsters Local 665. It's great to see everybody. As you can see behind me, we are sitting at the Amy's Kitchen location in San Jose that has been abruptly closed, and we've lost 300 workers, with many of them behind me right now, for the simple fact that they had these ridiculous working conditions, and they reached out to our brothers and sisters at Unite here, Local 19, who's in the house. And they actually were performing an organizing unit similar to what we're doing at the Amy's Kitchen location in Santa Rosa. We've teamed up with several co-ops, but pretty much Unite here, 19, Teamsters Local 665, and Lauren and her team from Food Empowerment Project is the reason we're all here today. So let's give a round of applause for that. And unfortunately, union busting is at its height, and it's at its height, and this is the perfect example. This facility behind me right here has been closed abruptly. Why was it closed? Because of a union organizing effort. And Unite here had filed a couple of charges, and within a month, the entire location was shut down, which is ridiculous. So we're here standing together with our sisters and brothers from Unite here, the Teamsters. And as I mentioned, we're organizing the facility in Santa Rosa, in which a Cal OSHA report just came out, and Amy's Kitchen has been hit with 13 violations for over $25,000. So as you can see, they're not doing everything the right way. Amy's has continued to say that they're this family-owned organic company, but they're not. They're just like the 1% corporate America. In the middle of this pandemic, they've made record profits. And what's their thanks to these workers that bust their tail for them every day is give them walking papers and close immediately to continue their anti-union busting tactics. So I want to introduce a couple of members that are going to speak from this plant who are now currently out of a job, and let you know that the Teamsters and Unite here and Food Empowerment Project will support these folks all the way into the end. Right? Okay, so first up, we're going to have a member who just unfortunately lost her job speak to us, and that member's name is Ruby Luna. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody who put this together and who is supporting our co-workers who lost their jobs. You guys have done a lot to stand behind us and bring this to light, whatever is going on at Amy's Kitchen. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ruby Luna. I started working at Amy's Kitchen San Jose plant on December 13th, 2021. I started out as a enchilada packaging in the production line, and 3 months later, I moved my way up to machine operator. I left my job. I liked working at Amy's Kitchen. I liked my coworkers. I liked my stable income that I was getting. But what I did not like was the injustice behavior, the hostile environment inside of Amy's Kitchen. I started to see a lot of injustices, such as priority. They were giving priority to the less, to the younger people that were just starting, to the older people, to other older women were getting the most difficult jobs. Also, there was a lot of, just a lot of things that were not okay. Unfairness against a lot of the Spanish-speaking and the Vietnamese-speaking people. I speak English and Spanish, so I knew a lot of what was going on and seen with the HR management, and I did not like it. So I started speaking up for myself and for others, and Amy's Kitchen started retaliating against me, threatening my position as a machine operator. And so at that moment, I felt like that wasn't right. I worked really hard for my position, and I believe that there was room for growth for everybody at the plant. Amy's claims to be a family, you know, they treat us like family. That's not the way you treat family. Talking behind each other's backs, talking about their employees that work so hard every day for them and for our families. We shouldn't have to come home tired and stressed out because of the way we've been treated at work. So I would like to say this. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I'm gonna take So, July 18th, 2022, 7 o'clock a.m., 1 hour after I clocked in to Amy's Kitchen, we were all scheduled to work that day, normal day. We were called to a meeting at 7 a.m. and to let us know that San Jose plant was closing down. Just like that. They gave us a bunch of reasons that we know had nothing to do with it, with the situation at the time. So we were all shocked. We still are shocked. A lot of us felt let down. We felt scared. A lot of my coworkers were crying and wondering what's really going on. So here we are today, asking the community and everybody to please continue the boycott until Amy's Kitchen comes and faces us workers. It's hard to start from the bottom. It's really hard to start, you know, a lot of us have kids. We have families. We have elderly who we take care of. And it's hard to go out there and start from the bottom to look for jobs. Please support us by continuing the boycott. Thank you. I want to say one more thing, and it's our demands for Amy's management. 1, Amy's management, meet with us and our union. Unite here, Local 19. Number 2, we want to discuss the severance pay. Number 3, we want to discuss about our health care. Number 4, we want the recall right. If and when Amy's opens a new plant in the Bay Area, we would like to be the first ones to be re-employed. And last, we want all Amy's workers to have the right to choose the union or not, without intimidation, retaliation for management like we have experienced. ¿Se puede? Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Give it up for Ruby.
Mi nombre es Verónica Arbizu. Quiero empezar diciéndole que mi antiguo trabajo por ellos, pensando que iba a estar mejor. Más sin embargo, con lo que me ofrezco por mi lesión, me atrapó. El cierre de Amy nos impactó en lo personal, en todas las situaciones e instancias, sobre todo en la mejoría de mi situación económica, queriendo yo sentirme todavía más útil y no se pudo porque cerró su horario abierto. Por eso queremos que Amy se reúna con nosotros para tratar los puntos que dice mi compañera, sinceramente. Se reúna con nosotros para hablar con el sindicato de local 19. Queremos hablar sobre una indemnización justa. Queremos hablar sobre nuestro seguro médico. ¿Qué va a pasar con eso? Queremos que el despido sea correcto, nuevamente necesito que cuando es empezada una nueva planta aquí en San José, California, todos nosotros seamos prioritarios para ellos. Que podamos tener un puesto seguro. Y, por último, queremos que todos los trabajadores de EMI tengamos el derecho a la unión sin represalia, sin intimidación, como solía pasar en todos los sentidos y aspectos. Gracias. ¿Sí se puede?
¿Se puede?
So I'm just going to translate for her. So, my name is Veronica, and I left my job to come work at Amy's because everything was so expensive, so I moved here to work here. And I was expecting to, make a living and earn pay, but instead we got, the factory shut down and we were faced with injustice. And, all our coworkers here are out of a job, and this is why we're here to demand that Amy's meet with us. And like my coworker was saying, they need to meet with us. We need to talk about and discuss over the severance pay, the health care, and then that we should get the person live in the jobs that they reopen in May. And then lastly, all workers should have a fair process to join the union, unlike what we face here at the Amy's plant. So that's what she said. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Veronica and Ruby. My name is Todo. I am the organizing director with Local 19. Our business manager is actually on his way from a meeting, so I'm just going to filling in, and we have a letter that we are intent to send to Andy Berliner, which is the CEO of the Amy Kitchen. And so I'm just going to go ahead and read that statement. Mr. Berliner, I am writing on behalf of the San Jose Amy Worker Union Committee. Our union, Unite Here Local 19, represent over 7,000 workers in food service, hotel, casino, tech cafeteria, national parks, and airport. We believe that all workers have the right to choose the union without fear of retaliation and intimidation. Workers deserve respect and dignity on the job. We will take all legal remedies to support workers. Workers were blindsided by San Jose plant closure. For the community, this means the loss of jobs at the time of great uncertainty. We are worried about inflation, the state of the economy, and yet another COVID variant. For San Jose, it means lots of hundreds of desperate need jobs for one of the most expensive cities in the country. Since the closure of Amy, we continue to encounter concerns from the public. There is a growing number of individuals who stating that they no longer purchase your product. What has happened in San Jose plant is a contradiction of your brand and your image, and it could further damage your brand. We request to meet to discuss the impact of the closure, safety on the job, and pending unfair labor charges. We hope through dialogue we can find a solution that is best for both sides, your company, the worker, and their community. Thank you, and hope to hear back from you. So this is a letter that we're going to be sending to Ellie. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Lorna Ornelas. I'm the founder of Food Empowerment Project. I'm here as a vegan of more than 30 years, as someone who supports worker justice, and I'm also a community member. I was outraged to learn of the treatment of Amy's workers at their facilities. After speaking with workers earlier this year, my organization, along with Veggie Mijas, called a boycott of Amy's products. I founded Food Empowerment Project 15 years ago because I did not believe that standing for animal rights and human rights was mutually exclusive. What Amy's Kitchen has done is disgraceful and has not only cost the livelihoods of those in our community, 300, but has done permanent damage to their reputation. They have seemingly violated the principles they started the company on, as they have proven that they do not care about the true sustainability when it comes to those who work for them. They show that they do not care for the environment of those who work for them.
They show they do not care about the health of those who work for them. I met with the workers on the Saturday before the closing was announced, many of whom are here. And what I heard was workers who wanted to do a good job. They wanted to also be treated with respect. But how could they when their job denigrated them by not giving them bathroom breaks and treating them with disrespect? Andy Berlander, you own this company. This is all on you. You say this plant was closed due to loss of profits and it had nothing to do with your attempt to silence or rather disrupt this powerhouse of workers who are ready to organize. I say prove it. Prove this by firing the union busters that you have hired. Prove it by sending an email out to all of your employees saying you will not interfere with their attempts to organize, that you in fact will support their attempts to unionize. Because that's what you said here, right? You said we did not close this plant because of their attempts to unionize. Prove it. You can't just say something like that and get away with it. We need receipts, we need proof. No more lies, no more attempts to hide behind this facade you've created for your company. Come out and prove exactly what you're saying. You did not close and cost the livelihood of 300 people in our community because you didn't want them to talk about their rights. Prove it, Andy. Prove it. Prove it and make sure that all the other workers at all of your other facilities have the right to organize with your blessing. Thank you. And it is my absolute and utter honor to introduce Assembly Member Ash Kalra, who I'm so excited is also my Assembly member, who's also a vegan, and who stands for farm workers and who stands for all workers alike. So I'm handing it over to the amazing Assembly Member Kalra.
Thank you, Lauren. Very, very kind introduction. Thank you for everything that you do and for being here. Our session started. In July, we have our recess. Our session started again yesterday. So I drove to Sacramento yesterday. But when I heard that Unite Here was coming here and being joined by the Teamsters Food Empowerment Project, I decided I needed to get back in my car and come back home to San Jose this morning. And, I'm proud to be the chair of the Assembly Labor and Employment Committee, and I take very seriously worker concerns over unsafe conditions. In May of this year, after several concerning health and safety complaints made by Amy's Kitchen's workers, I authored a letter to the CEO of Amy's Kitchen urging him to meet with aggrieved workers and representatives from Teamsters Local 665 to find a mutually beneficial path forward, to work together as you should. Amy's calls himself a family. Well, they should be working with their workers who are a part of that family. Rather than address the concerns of workers, the company's response was to hire and assign private consultants to the work sites in an apparent effort to intimidate and silence workers, like we just heard from these courageous workers here today. Instead of negotiating fair and equitable treatment for workers, Amy's Kitchen chose to unjustly shutter this plant that is employed over 300 members of our community. We have seen these anti-worker tactics being utilized by companies all over the United States as workers continue to organize and fight for representation, fair wages, and safer working conditions. And today we're seeing an increase in the strong desire for workers to form and join unions. As the pandemic took its toll on the country, many essential workers have become fed up with the status quo of declining workplace safety and lack of a share in record corporate profits. I'm inspired by recent union victories across the country, including at Starbucks, Amazon, REI, and even in Congress. And by the way, I'm fighting as well with colleagues to make sure we can allow our legislative employees to unionize as well. But what we've also seen is we've seen situations, for example, of many Starbucks all of a sudden closing, right? I wonder why that's happening and why a far majority of them happen to be those Starbucks that have unionized. Quite simply, that's the same thing we're seeing here in San Jose. It's the same thing we're seeing with Amy's Kitchen. As you're organizing, as you're learning about how you can empower yourselves, they're saying we'd rather close up shop than give in to our workers, which is a really sad statement. Because the reality is, when you look at Amy's website, it says the food is made with love. I agree the food is made with love because the food is made by the workers. The problem is they're not showing any love to the workers. Now, I'm very proud, as Lauren said, to be a vegan. I'm the only vegan in the state legislature. However, as the Food Empowerment Project so correctly advocates for, you can't think about only the animals or what you're putting in your body. You're not thinking about those that are working, the workers that are picking the food, those that are preparing the food, those that are delivering the food. If you care more about the animals than you do about those workers, then your priorities are messed up. You got to care equally about the rights of the animals and the quality of the food, and you have to care about the workers. And that's what sometimes gets missed in the vegan movement. They think about the food so much, they think about the animals so much, they forget about the people. Well, we cannot forget about the people, and Amy's Kitchen tries to put out an image of being a healthy company, vegetarian, vegan food, hand-prepared food. The reality is that none of that is possible without the workers, and if they don't want to treat the workers with the respect that the workers deserve, if they don't want to get rid of these union-busting consultants, then they're really showing who they are. And we have to stop buying any Amy products. We have to stop it until the workers tell me, and until the workers tell us, you know what? They're acting right. I was going to say they're acting right again, but I don't know if there was a time they were acting right. So let's just say, once they step up to the plate and say, you know what?